You have to be able to say, hey, this is what I need right now. I'm gonna go ahead and use it. I'm gonna make it efficient. I'm gonna refine it. I'm gonna track my KPIs. I'm gonna do everything that I need to do to be able to then make an educated decision later on down the road on what it is that I wanna kind of grow into. All right, welcome to my office. I decided to be a little bit more intimate on this video simply because it's a question I get all the time. I get it from new investors, from new business owners, seasoned investors looking to scale, even businesses that are already producing multiple six figures, if not seven figures. And that is simply, how do I blank? It's like, how do I decide what tool to use? Do I use this tool? Do I use that tool? How do I blank? Right? And the simple answer to that is if you understood every other component in your business, it wouldn't be a question of how do I blank or what do I blank. It would be as easy as just doing, right? Failing forward, which is probably the most important skill set that you need to gain as an entrepreneur, is the ability just to fail forward. Especially those who are what we consider micro SMB, small business solopreneurs that, you know, they've been working at W-2 their whole life. They don't have experience in business, right? They haven't ever created an LLC before. They haven't chose software products, but yet they can choose a video game to buy all day, but they can't choose what dialer they want to use. Why is that? Well, because necessity is the mother of all creation, right? You never know what you want until you're in a position to where you have to make the decision, right? Something my granddad told me growing up is that if you think you want to buy something, wait 24 hours and ask yourself the same question again. And most of the time you don't, right? So you can really quickly, when you're around all your friends and you're talking about video games, decide, oh, I want to buy that video game. And you might play it for a little bit of time. But then when you're dealing with business, you sit by yourself and you sit and you ponder and you look at the pricing page, you look at the features, you look at all these different components and you like ponder over like, which one do I choose? But yet you're not doing anything right now. What you need to do is you got to get the ability and got to build that kind of mindset, that capability to just make a decision, right? Make a decision. Understand there's a difference between being cheap and being efficient. A lot of times when people are getting into business, they're looking at all the cheapest ways to get into things. They look at all the features and like what they're getting, and they're looking at this job and that job, and does this product solve this problem or that problem? Does this one have single dial, click to call? Does this one have bulk predictive dialing? Can I track my mailers in that one or can I not? Like, it is just astronomical. If you live your business life over looking at the features list and figuring out, can it do this, 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 or this micro component of my business, but you don't understand the macro component and you don't have a control of that, you're never gonna be able to scale to the next level. You have to be able to build the muscle memory as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, to be able to decide on when I need to be able to make a decision now, and it also be balancing being cheap and being efficient. Because sometimes you have to be cheap and sometimes you have to be efficient. And what does that mean? Like, what's an example of that? For example, there might be a decision between a product that costs $99 a month, and that product you can do that exact task that you need done, but it's $99 a month. There could be another product that's also $99 a month, but it does all of these other things that you realistically don't need, but you literally went out searching to see if there's something better than the product that solved the issue that you needed, to find another product that had a bunch of other features that don't even actually relate towards what you need right now. Okay, that's the difference between being cheap and being efficient. You're looking for that next cheapest thing. In most scenarios, one of them is more expensive than the other, but just to give you an equal playing field example. So you have to be able to not do that. You have to be able to say, hey, this is what I need right now. I'm gonna go ahead and use it. I'm gonna make it efficient. I'm gonna refine it. I'm gonna track my KPIs. I'm gonna do everything that I need to do to be able to then make an educated decision later on down the road on what it is that I wanna kind of grow into. That could become the one and only tool that I use for the rest of my business venture, and I could use another tool later that specializes in some of the other features the other one said that it solved, right? Which brings me to like a point that I really wanted to mention to really hone this in. Tools and people, right? You're gonna have to build products, you're gonna have to buy products rather in order to let your employees use them to be able to produce revenue. But you're also gonna have to hire people to use those tools. And when you're hiring people, it's much like when you're choosing products. You see, you look at people and you might find somebody who says, hey, I can do this, my resume has like Photoshop on it, it has, cold calling on it, it has front desk receptionist, like they've done literally everything. They're the master of all, right? And you think that that's great because, hey, I'm getting them at a good price. But how can you be the master of everything but be, a cheap salary? It's not realistic. It means that they maybe done each of those individual things for a month, 2 months, or 3 months, or 6 months, or a year maybe at a time, compared to the other individual who maybe did one of those things for the whole span that individual did that. Let's say it's a 5-year time frame. You worked at 5 different companies in 5 years versus the same company doing the same thing for 5 years. Which one are you gonna get the highest result from? A lot of people hire employees based off of those little components that they have, when in all reality, they really needed that one component. So they get hired, they're in your business, and they can't even do the main thing that you need them to do, which is probably being organized, right? They're able to do everything else, but they're not organized. When you're doing a master of everything, typically that one thing you need, like organization, is not there because they can't focus on one thing for a longer period of time, which is what organization requires. So products are the same way, right? How can one product do everything and be the same price or cheaper than another product that specializes? A tool is nothing but replacing an employee, right? So you're buying a software product so that a person doesn't physically have to do it, or it can automate some of their roles, but yet you cheap out on the core component of what that product needs to do. And this is all like, what the fuck? Like, why am I even doing this? Because in all reality, I just need to start cold calling, right? But I'm asking myself all these other questions. I'm asking myself, well, is it gonna be easy for my VA? I'm asking myself all these questions that are gonna happen in the future, but right now I need money. And I'm afraid to actually get on the phone and start cold calling for it, as an example. Maybe it's choosing a CRM, maybe it's, choosing an email provider, there's so many different things. And as an entrepreneur, you're dealing with having to be somebody, especially initially, that has to be a marketer. They have to be your prospect. They have to be your salesperson. They have to be your everything, right? Because you don't have the money to hire out those specialized tasks. So sometimes it's okay, and this is where being cheap versus efficient has to be understood. Sometimes it's okay to hire a master of all, right? Because you need that in the beginning. You gotta be able to build this, the mentality that you can make quick decisions, but make the right decision, and you're gonna fail forward doing it because you're not gonna make the right decision all the time. But you gotta do it because you gotta get to the next level and you gotta build. It's like having, I don't know, you ever like stub your toe on something? If you only stub your toe every like 3 months, it really, really hurts. But people who do like kickboxing and everything else, like, that's not gonna hurt as much to them. It's gonna be kind of like, I stubbed my toe again, because they do it day in and day out, right? They're always hitting, stuff with their feet, right? So it's the same thing. The more you get hit as an entrepreneur, the more you make decisions and the faster you make them, the more you become resilient to build up what's needed from just, being able to process that information very quickly. And it's not gonna be that hard anymore. So become really good at understanding that the necessity is the mother of creation, right? The ability to wait till the last second is always gonna make you make a decision. But if you get to that point, you gotta be able to make the decision fast. You gotta know if you're being cheap or being efficient. Don't just go down the cheapest route simply because you're trying to be cheap. Be efficient. Hire people based off the skill set you need, not off of your wants. And then continue to just scale your company looking through the lens of your numbers, your KPIs, and not through the lens of the person who is being the mother of creation, right? The necessity, like, oh, I'm making this decision to hire this person because I need them right now. Do you need them right now, or can you take over that role, right? Think about these things. This is the biggest skill set that you're gonna have as an entrepreneur. Fail forward, be able to choose the tools and the people efficiently, and these are the types of skill sets you need to get there.